And we're live, Friday night live, right here on the Fishing with Gramps YouTube channel. What's up, Freedom Squad, Fishing Fam? Yep, tonight you can see we got in the house Mr. Matt Kreitz, OEF5, and Chad Hoover. Matt's going to give an update on what's going on with the Freedom Squad team of the KBF Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series. And then we've got Chad to come on and talk a little bit about the fan fish off, and I won't keep saying Friday fan fish off because I keep getting told it's not correct. So I'll let him explain that here in a minute. But first, we're going to kick off with the latest and greatest updates with Team Gramps now complete with all the hammers. Oh, you guys are in trouble. I'm so looking forward to this. It's going to be fun. Of course, the ultimate goal this season, once again, is to not only hashtag beat Chad and beat Gene, but we got to throw the old hashtag beat Wendell Fishing in there as well, due to the nature of the way that last year's Hero Cup finished. But that's okay. We're all going to have fun. We're all going to have a great time, which is really what it all comes down to. But first, with our newly in place, now, Jeremy sends his warm regards, everyone. If anybody wants to hit me up while we're down there, we'll kind of explain a little bit what's going on. He's working with some medication and, with his docs and whatnot. And yeah, it was what it was. Matt is stepping in to take over the team because, hey, we're Freedom Squad and that's how we roll. So instead of Matt cooking the deliciousness, he's going to lead the team of the Freedom Squad. You can call them Freedom Squad 1, Freedom Squad 2, however you want to do it. But we're coming
I'm Freedom Squad 1, baby.
Can we just be honest and say that Jeremy saw the lineup of Team Chad, got scared?
Yeah.
Oh, do you have people fishing on your team? Nobody was aware.
Let's just back it up.
Had to figure out a way to get out of it. And then Matt, picked up the gauntlet.
And that's okay, because I'm sitting with the two losers in this podcast, because Freedom Squad's going to beat Gramps and Team Chad, because I have brought the lineup of Freedom Squad fishermen.
But you also have to catch a fish. Because everybody,
I can catch a fish.
He has to catch two. Got to catch two fish, one each day, right?
That's okay. I can. I'm good for 2 bites. I just can't make that top 100 at the national championship.
Yeah. You can catch a big. So, Matt, tell us about your.
All right.
Tell us about your lineup, because realistically, we had some people that wouldn't.
This is what happened. So, I was busy with work. We had talked. We decided that I was going to take over. Chad approved it. We did our live Friday. I sent a text message yesterday to the other 2 team members on Freedom Squad who qualified.
Yep.
And the first response I got back from one of them was, yeah, hey, we're not coming because Jeremy was out and Alex was out. And we didn't know there was any replacements. So we already canceled our vacation. Sorry, we're not coming. So I immediately messaged Gramps. I was pissed. I was stressed. And now I got to figure out who I'm going to get on the team. 2 weeks to go. So here's the lineup. We replaced Alex with Freedom Squad's own Trevor Wagner. Jermaine Simpson is already on the team. He's coming.
Yep.
I added Miss Emily Hyman from the great state of Louisiana. She is a hammer. And we got one of the qualifiers from the fan fish off last year back into Freedom Squad, Miss K-Ro Ferguson. Let's go.
Right. And all of these are people that actually competed in the month-longs for the Freedom Squad team. So we actually, had some guys fall out, but we literally replaced them with other actual Freedom Squad already members. Because Miss Emily, well, we've known Emily for the last two or three, I think, national championships and challenge series.
Championship. Yeah, so she has fished the national championships. We met her at Kentucky Lake, which was our first one.
Yep.
She fished Gunnersville.
Our Homeland Heroes. Give it up to her. And she's actually working on patrol tonight, so good job, Emily.
She's working at a rodeo in Louisiana.
But still, she's doing her.
You realize a rodeo in Louisiana is an absolute invitation to a shit show, and it's worse than
Yes.
a riot in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. So here was her, when I asked her about that, she was like, oh yeah, they get drunk and they fight. I don't have to break it up because they police themselves. So she goes, I don't even have to do nothing.
Sit
All right,
back
So-
and
I want to point something out here real quick. My team is made up of Miss Mandy Dawson, who put up 106 3/4 inches in Arkansas. We got Keith Stanley, who put up 97 in Georgia in July. We got freaking Jeremy Van Pelt, who put up 109 in June in Georgia. And then we got John Long coming back from my team last year, who put up 106 inches in Virginia.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good. I mean, all of those states have big fish. It's not like they're up here where they, you know.
But what I'm saying is it ain't Alabama. And when they come to Alabama, you're going to take big fish snatchers and put them on a big fish fishery, and it's going to be ugly. Because I've been saving mine. Like my biggest fish this year is 22 inches. Okay. But I'm saving it.
Your son already outfished you this year.
But the year ain't over yet. It ain't how you start, baby. It's how you finish. and the fall is on. It's going to be a fall brawl between me and young Danielson, where he learns his whole life. He's caught a bigger fish than me early, but he's never caught a bigger fish than me at the end, other than the 10-pounder that he caught. But again, that was on the lake I showed him.
Dude, that was a damn good fish.
Oh, it was a big ass fish. But listen,
I mean, I love Chad's, rookie numbers.
I'm gonna tell you what
rookie numbers.
There's 110. There's 110.
Where's that at again?
One's in Mississippi, one's in Florida. Mr. David in Alabama, 103.
Okay.
And then Mr. Michael Rednor, which you know who that is, 101.
Yeah.
So, I'm not feeling bad at all.
So basically there's a bunch of hammers coming, right? But here's what it boils down to. Next week, I am actually going to release a guide to fishing Guntersville for everybody coming to fish the championships, the knucklehead, and everything about. There is going to be no secrets. So
Are you getting all those waypoints from Gene? It's
not going to come down to who's fishing the best spot. It's going to be who puts in the best game plan, because it's all going to be out there. I'm going to tell you where to launch and where to go, what it's looking like is the best. Hey, the video I just released, here's where I launched, here's where I fished. That other video where we caught the big fish, here's where I launched, and here's where I fished. All the fish that Gene's catching, here's where he's catching them. All the fish that fishing with Nordby's fishing, this is where he's catching them. All the fish that Mikey Balls is fishing for, here's where he's catching his. Like, I'm gonna conglomerate that all into a guide to Guntersville, and basically message that video out to everybody that's registered for the events.
Well, I'll just say this. I've got more people on my team in Gramps' chat than Gramps has from his team in the chat. Well,
let's not pretend like all the people on all the teams are not fishing fam. So we won't. We won't go there. I have the best feeder system that there is.
Here's what we got to do. There's all this smack talking, but what nobody's doing is putting their money, or in this case, some social collateral where their mouth is. So
I have zero social collateral. So
I propose we put out something like, no, you do. I propose that like we come up with some dare or something that you have to do if you lose. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, dye your white goatee purple for 3 weeks if you're the losing team, or shave your head, or I don't know. We need to come up with something.
Okay, so shaving the head's not going to work because you're bald and JT already does it, and I'm going bald. So
I'm not bald. I mean, look at that hair right there.
I'm not bald.
Yeah, I definitely need a haircut because I'm way overdue.
All right, so
you know what? I'm not jumping into any dares. No. I'm not a dumbass. If we were going to a lake,
let's go ahead.
If we were going to a lake that none of us fished instead of somebody's home waters, it's a different story.
How about after the championship, we have to jump in the river, and we'll get it all filmed.
I do that anyway. Every time I go fishing, what's the difference?
Well, he does it. JT does it when he takes a pee.
Oh yeah,
trying to get back in the boat. But we'll figure out something.
Now that reminds me, if anybody sees a wallet floating in Guntersville, Yeah, because I damn sure went off the bank and went from no feet to about 6 foot of water and about 2 feet from the bank. And yeah, my wallet is gone. Oh, that reminds me, I need to order a new paddle because I lost it. I lost it in Wisconsin. If anybody sees a bending branches floating down the Wisconsin River,
how did you lose your paddle?
I don't know. I was portaging somebody else's kayak, so I get the feeling I left it in my paddle holder, and probably because then I wasn't going through my routine of taking it off, putting it in my rod locker, which wasn't on the kayak. So, Chad, if you know anybody at bending branches where I can get a discount, Gramps needs a paddle. Because I do like the hike. I do want a quality.
They are the best. They are the best.
Yep.
Freaking kayak paddle, and they're durable because I lost mine one day because it flew out of the back of my truck and got run over, and I found it on the side of the road.
That. Yep, I was
with
you.
And it still works.
Yep. But again, I want to stop for a minute and thank Miss Emily, Trevor, and Cairo for I didn't know if they were planning on coming to the fish off or not. But thank you again for accepting the challenge, because it's not a short drive. I know Cairo's coming from a long way away, Trevor coming from Texas, and Emily coming from Louisiana. We thank you all for filling in, first for participating in the season, but for then having the last minute no planning. I mean, the rest of us, except for Matt, we've been planning this the whole summer. And I know Matt was planning on cooking, but now he's going to be got that new bona fide RS-117 rigged and ready to go. Got it broken and caught some fish, and we're ready for Knucklehead. I'm so jacked to get down there. So, Chad, give us a little fishing report. I heard they keep killing grass, but I guess that's been going on all year.
Man, it's been going on for 6 years. There's a few people all of a sudden that are trying to blow stuff out of proportion. And let me break this down for you for what you see on social media. If you see somebody on social media who is in the know and they end up in a spot where they're either spraying or they are mechanical harvesting the eelgrass, there's only two scenarios that explain it. One, you're an idiot, or two, you're ignorant. And here's what I mean by that. There's only two possible scenarios where you end up in the area where they're spraying. You're an idiot or ignorant. And what I mean by that is you're an idiot and you don't know any better, or you're going there because you know, and you're just using it to sensationalize stuff so that you can throw something on social media to act like something's worse, little chick in the sky is falling, or you're ignorant and you don't know any better. But I find that hard to believe for people who are in the know, because the schedule is posted. It's been posted. It's been the same for 6 years. But what happens is you get all of these people whose goal is to get views on social media versus to spread, accurate information.
Right.
So they go, oh, look, fishing's kind of crappy today. Let's go over to Roseberry and act like we were just sitting here fishing. And then here comes this harvester, and then make a video about how mad they are. Well,
so can I ask a question? A serious, actual question about the harvesters. Are they not trying to get rid of the eelgrass mats that have released? It's no longer live grass. It's just floating mats now, right? And they're trying to get that off the water, correct? Is that the purpose of the harvesters? Or are they actually collecting and harvesting live grass?
Can you put that comment that was just up back up? Does that... Okay, so I'm going to explain Ruben's scenario. I've used this analogy, and I actually have a video called Save the Grass where I say, you can't you can't buy a house next to the highway and complain about highway noise, and you can't buy a house near an airport and complain about airport noise. But if you bought a house near an airport and it was airplanes taking off and landing, and then they turned it into a heliport where there was helicopters hovering over your house, it's a different scenario.
Yeah.
So what people are complaining about is not that they bought a house on a dock and there's grass around it because they knew that. It's that there's rafts of eelgrass, and that eelgrass mats up and you can't even get your boat in and out. The biggest problem is that there are people who are paying to have it cut, and then it rafts up and it floats over and screws somebody else up. So as much as I understand that sentiment, and I've even used the same kind of analogies, the problem is, so imagine you cut your grass or you raked your leaves onto your neighbor's yard. That's really what we're dealing with, is that these people are paying to have their eelgrass cut. Then they just push it away from their dock, and then it floats down and clobbers up somebody else's. So first and foremost, that's the number one point of contention that people don't understand, and they want to get into this whole homeowners thing. The second misunderstanding or misconception is that anglers are all up in arms and think we're the number one like resource on the lake. Oh, they're going to lose all this tax revenue. Okay, so if you want to play that game, the property tax owners on the collective Guntersville pay about 240% in property taxes what fishing generates on Guntersville. So we're not even number one. We're not even number two. Guess what? We're not even number three. We're the number 4 largest economic impact on the fishery. So this whole posturing of like, we're the biggest economic impact. And okay, so first of all, that's a myth. Secondly, the thing about the homeowners is it's really homeowners against each other. So basically what just happened was a couple weeks ago, the Wet Council, the Wet Foundation, and the My Lake Guntersville people, which is a collective of all the communities on Guntersville, put together an initiative. They had a bunch of people bring boats, and they took all these senators and politicians out and showed them the problem. So moving forward, if you're a developer, or if you're a homeowners association, or you're a private homeowner, you can't contract a company to come cut the eelgrass from around your dock unless they're also removing it. So that's problem number one that the solution is in place for. You will no longer be able to get a permit for the grass removal unless it's complete removal. That gets rid of you raking your leaves onto somebody else's yard, right?
Okay.
Cleaning up. Imagine you went out in your front yard and there was dog shit everywhere, and you look over and your neighbor had dog shit the day before, but now his dog shit's all in your yard. So he cleaned up his yard, but he put it in your yard. So that's one of the biggest problems. The second problem is there's this big misconception that if you go in and you spray the grass, you're just going to kill everything. What they're spraying is navigation channels, boat channels, and all this other stuff. And so that's actually where the whole fishing thing comes into play as well. The fishermen also complain, especially the ones from out of town that bring their bass boats, and then they got eelgrass all everywhere and they can't navigate anywhere to go fishing. So the fishermen themselves also want navigable channels and boat lanes and things like that cut. And so that's happening for us, not just to us. And then the last part of it, and the big part of it that drives TVA, is that when all of this grass is cut or killed or whatever, and it's not removed, and it ends out in the main river channel in the thoroughfare, then it goes and ends up going into the dam and potentially can damage the throughput of the hydroelectric, which is what these reservoirs were primarily built for. And that's the number one economic impact, is what they do for that. And so again, there's a lot of stakeholders and fishermen, anglers, especially the ones that just like to make noise but don't want to be part of the solution. A lot of times just get in there and try to jump on whatever bullshit narrative they can get the most views out of.
Yep.
So they've been spraying on Guntersville for the last 6 years. About 15 years ago, they did over poison. They did over harvest, over spray. They did all that stuff. And Guntersville snapped back like that in 7 or 8 years. In the course of, Old Hickory Lake in Tennessee, they killed it 20 years ago. It's still dead. Decatur, they killed it. It's still kind of dead. It's coming back, but Guntersville was never to that point, and it snapped back way faster. The problem is that there's this misconception that they're somehow killing all the grass. In fact, I did my Save the Grass video, and then I turned around and did the tournament video, and I told Austin, hey, bring the drone so we can get a whole bunch of drone shots, because look at my video. Those videos show how healthy the grass is, how much grass there is. And look,
that hydrilla.
That's
it
Mud
is a
Creek.
good hydrilla.
That's Mud Creek, right off of the main thoroughfare, right between. I mean, literally, if it was going to be decimated, that would be one of the number one places it would be decimated. I mean, the damn name is Mud Creek, and it still clears the Caribbean in there. So again, there's a lot of misconception, a lot of bullshit, and there's a lot
if somebody wants to find it fish grass, they're not going to have any problems.
No, dude, it's still to the point where there's literally, and you'll never really hear me say this, but too much grass. There's too much grass for all the people that are stakeholders. For me, shit, let it mat up. Let me just drive around with my kayak and find places nobody else can get. But it's also gotten pretty bad in the back of places like where I used to be able to go. I can't even go even in a kayak because that eelgrass knots up like, these strands knot up and it's that thick and you can't push it and you can't move it. It basically becomes a big island and then it sinks. And then the biggest problem with it is it kills everything under it. Like if you've ever laid a sheet of plywood out in your yard and forgot about it, and then when you lift it up, all the grass under it's dead. It does that to the other grasses, Well,
but those things are also dangerous too, especially for kayakers when it's blowing, because if you get on the wrong side of one of those, it can push you, right? No,
they don't really get moving that fast. I mean, maybe again, I'll go back to the idiot or ignorant thing.
If you get run over paddler.
If you get run over by an eelgrass mat, God had pretty much figured out a way to get you back. Anyway, he had issued a recall because it's going to move about 0.0001 miles per hour.
That's about how fast I go.
Yeah, exactly.
About how fast I go.
Yeah, Matt's still paddling, so he ain't going to give that up until I get him in a PWR.
Yeah,
you're not. Let me answer a question real quick, and then we'll talk about the fan fish off. Liz, I've texted, I've called. I literally called at 2:00 this afternoon. I texted yesterday.
I even brought it up again yesterday. So yes.
So I mean, I know they're swamped. They keep losing people, hiring people, bringing people back. That's the lasering and all of that stuff is just another process. And yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, but I'm not going to keep stressing over it because it's been a thing for forever. I love Duke, and I love the fact that he's so busy that he can't keep up. But that's what I want for every American small business. I know you're being cheeky, but it bothers me because I'm the team captain and I haven't solved that, and we're coming up at the end of season 2, getting ready to do the Hero Cup again. So, yeah, it's when you do that, it's like hitting me with a taser because it's my responsibility, and that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I carry it.
When you told me about it yesterday, I called about it today, so we'll put them.
Yeah.
We'll put them in
Before we move on, can I ask another question?
Of
Mr. Hoover? How is the revitalization of Ditto Landing going? Because I know you're a big, huge part of that. How's that coming along?
So it's actually going really well. I have got preliminary approval to put a kayak shop here. Wasn't really planning on talking about this yet, but
good. Now you got to say it. Tell us what else you got.
They're putting in a handicap accessible ramp at the bottom of the hill by KBF, where we'll be able to take not just disabled veterans, but anybody with a disability, and be able to make it easy to launch. Actually, I was supposed to be fishing that back channel river today with Austin, and then I told him I'd already, committed to be on this live. So he's out there. We're starting to try to learn more about it. We've gotten preliminary approval to make it a wake advisory zone so that when we decide to, have paddle fest and events back there, we can make that back channel a no paddle zone. I've been doing.
Now you're talking about the whole swing by the
the whole back channel that comes off the Tennessee River that goes right past where the KBF headquarters is.
Yeah.
Nice. In fact, here I'll show you the illustration of the business. So this is the KBF headquarters where the word fishing is. Over here, it would say kayak bass, and so that building right there is going to be the approval of the and then that's the fence line behind it of the new retail location, and the boat ramp is down here, and then the greenway is right there. So working on that.
And you got to approve to sell what?
I don't know if I can say any of that yet. I got approved to sell.
Okay, my bad. I didn't know that was
everything. I'm affiliated. Pretty much everybody that I'm affiliated with has pretty much said you're good to go.
Okay, I wanted to use the opportunity to brag about it, but I get it. I didn't realize you were still working out the deets. So it's a gentleman's agreement or an agreement in kind, but not a signed contract yet. So I'll. Can I just say that this will be where me and Matt probably pick up our new kayaks every year?
Sure, you can say that.
Well,
one other thing that I'm working on is this is the paddling guide for North Alabama, which has all of the breakdowns for where you put in and where you take out. I'll have these for folks at the event. And I'm trying to get this turned into a digital format where I can send it out as a membership thing. But just remember, this is designed specifically for paddlers. But I've done these videos in the past, knock on wood. The paddling people have put together some really cool launches and locations that we can take advantage of as paddle sports enthusiasts and anglers. And there's a whole list of all of the places to put in and take out and what to expect. And these are a lot of those backwoods, backwaters, reservoirs and places that, don't get a lot of boat traffic or any boat traffic. And look, it's like this one, it's like a whole guide to all of the cool places to visit and paddle in North Alabama. And by the way, if you can paddle there, you can also paddle fish or catch fish there. And anyway, so I'm working on trying to bring that to life via video for next season, and also add the fishing twist to it.
All right, I got one more dumb question before we actually move on to. Shoot. Would you please take the time to explain the new requirement of October 1st of motorsports or boating in Alabama? So what do we need to do for the certification? Who needs to do it? Just give a good clarification to make sure everyone understands who and what is required. And if like JT took the Indiana one, if that's good. So
JT, did you invite him on here to ruin my weekend? Is that what you did? Did you say, hey, Matt?
No, but we've gotten so many questions, man. I'm sorry.
Here's the deal. I don't have any control over this, and I found out about it and immediately sent it out to everybody. Hey, sure. This is a requirement. I am going to do mine this weekend so that I can say I did it and I'm legal. I live in Alabama and didn't know about it. I picked up the phone and called 4 or 5 tournament directors who didn't know about it. There's been a really poor job of putting that out. I feel like if this is a requirement, when I go to register my boat, I should be told this. It should go hand in hand. If it's a motorized boat requirement and I've got to do it, I should be told that when I go do. Honestly, it should almost be like you can't get your registration until you do it, right? You would think that would be. So anyway, I called the state and said, this says motorized boats. And I get it that they're probably talking about internal combustion, ICE, internal combustion engines and things like that, because I know the impetus for it was a number of fatalities over the last 2 years from people that were young and probably shouldn't have been operating boats. But the answer to the question was, if it is motorized, then you are required to have either the Alabama one or the one from your state. If your state doesn't require one, then you have to do the Alabama one. If you live in Indiana and Indiana has a boater safety certification and you have that, it's good for Alabama. If you have your boat registered in Alabama, you have to have the Alabama one. Or if you come to Alabama and your state doesn't require one, or you don't get the one from your state, you have to have the one from Alabama. So the requirement is, if you operate a motorized vessel on Alabama waters, you have to have either the one from your home state to match your registration, or you have to have it from Alabama.
Okay. So,
and that's the vessel
paddlers and
or
pedals,
the boater safety certification.
It's not a paddler thing.
Okay.
And the people that call me and go, why do I got to get this if I got a paddle? I'm like, did you read it? Yes. Why do I got to get this if I got a paddle? I'm like, did you read it? They're like, yes. I'm like, cool. Because in the first paragraph, the word motorized is in there 6 times.
Yes.
So before you get yourself in a hissy fit and get all puffed up like a damn blowfish, go read it again, because there's no way you read it and think you got to do it if you don't have a motorized kayak, because it's literally got the word motorized in it, and it's written in Alabama, right? So it's probably like a 3rd grade level writing for everybody. I mean, that's the way they do government postings. It's not really hard. You don't have to have a secret decoder ring, and people call me and go, hey, I just want to bounce this off you, make sure I'm reading this right. So if I got a motorized kayak and this requires all motorized kayaks, do I got to have it? I mean, you just answered your own damn question.
Yes.
It's motorized vessel. If you're not motorized, you ain't got to worry about it.
I really wasn't trying to be a pain. But
now, am I checking for it? No. I ain't the Alabama Marine Patrol. If they check you for it, good on you. If you get a ticket, how am I even going to know about it? I'm not playing that. I can't say I'm not requiring it because I can't do that. I'm not Alabama state anything. but I'm not checking for it
until.
not my
But
job.
everyone who fishes the Challenge Series or the KBF National Championships, you know the rules.
Right.
Yes.
I want to
Have
clarify.
it
Thank you.
and beware and be ready.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
I
just
don't
like
check your driver's license to make sure
Right.
you operated your vehicle to get to the tournament. So I'm not trying to sit here and check your
or the fishing license. You're
Motor
required to have a
somebody-
fishing license and all that.
Same
But
thing.
if
Yeah.
somebody sees somebody get a ticket and you're in the same tournament, especially at the high level, it's a thing. So have it, be safe,
Right.
follow the law is what I always say. You don't have to like it. If you want to participate in any of these tournaments, that's part of our responsibility.
Yes. Now,
So-
you had said to me that there was a $5 option, and then there is the lifetime $49.
I don't know
option.
about no $5 option,
For
but I did the lifetime
Alabama.
in Indiana,
Yeah.
which it's like a $50 whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I might as well do it. I had to take hunter's ed, so I've got my hunter's ed.
The weird thing is, you probably had hunters and boaters ed in junior high, like we all did.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
I don't have those cards from
No.
1982.
Dude, check
Right.
this out.
Anyway.
I was the officer of the deck of an aircraft carrier, and the
Hey,
United
that don't mean nothing. You don't know how to operate a boat, Chad.
You got
okay?
you got to pay the Alabama Bass Council.
You got to pay the Alabama Bass.
if you have a captain's license in Alabama, you still got to do this boater safety thing. What?
There were some exceptions. The people who took like the what do you call the junior Navy Marine?
Yeah, I know. I get
Some,
it.
anyway, let's move on. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just
Let-
wanted to get some
It's,
clarification.
no, it's a fair point. I'm glad.
sending it out. I'm doing a video about it. I'm sending it out to all competitors and letting them know my position on it. I can't supersede state law. I'm not. It's not a tournament thing for me. It's a boater compliance thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So now let's get to the back to the fun part
Yes.
of the show. Let's talk about the fan fish off, because we did it one way last year. We got it coming up again this year. We still want people to come to the event, even though they're not fishing in the Hero Cup. Chad, tell us what we're doing.
Well, I'm switching it up all the way around. And actually,
Okay.
this is going to be the first time you hear of it too, because I just decided this like 2 days ago.
Oh,
Because
you didn't reach out to the council of JT, huh?
People started messaging me. No, I'm not on the Alabama Bios Council, but I did get,
Bass.
I did get some
Indiana
people,
Bass Council.
I did get some people messaging me going, "Hey, you should do this." And so I started calling a few other people, and so here's what I've decided. The whole point of Knucklehead is to get more people introduced into the sport. It's an opportunity for you to fish for a chance to be on the team of your favorite influencer or one of your favorite influencers or whatever, right? And then to come down and to create a low barrier to entry, high potential return on investment, but more about the camaraderie and the get together part. So last year we did the event. We took all the feedback that we got and we made this year's series match that feedback as best we possibly could. Along the way, people are asking me about the whole fan fish off thing. How's it going to work? Are you doing the wild card? So we decided last year we weren't doing the wild card thing where we brought in everybody to fish on Friday for the chance to win their way into a wild card, because there's two things that were a problem with that. One, people come in and they find out they're fishing or they're trying to win their way into fish on Friday, then they got to turn around and gel as a team for Saturday morning. And Team Underdog did a really good job last year. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they did.
But it's problematic but for that team to gel. They're all living in different places. They booked in different places. And the idea is that the team fish off is designed for teams. But we've all got sponsorship relationships. We've all got relationships with companies. And so I reached out to all the brands that I'm affiliated with. And I've got several $1,000s worth of stuff being donated. And it's all going to be up for grabs on Saturday. So what I'm going to do is, if you fished in the Knucklehead, there's going to be no entry fee for the fan fish off, and there's going to be somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000 worth of prizes. We were going to do the whole like 500, 300, 200, like first place, second place, third place, and I'm still going to do that for an actual cash value for the people that actually catch the biggest fish. But it's going to be more about coming, having fun, fishing for that personal best, fishing Lake Gunnersville, fishing Wheeler, fishing the area, and then come in Saturday night to meet up with all the captains, because that's the other thing that we're going to do this year is everybody's going to have a meet and greet Saturday night, where if somebody win their way onto team, Chad, but they were really a fan of JT, but his competition was too stiff, so they made it onto my team, but they want to meet him, they can meet everybody.
Yeah, and then what happened?
And then all of us will explain who Matt is and why he's even there. We'll be like, well,
they remember if they came last year because he was the chef.
This is Matt. Remember last year he was the chef. Well, now he's over here on this side. So, but it's all designed to be about camaraderie and esprit de corps and building the sport. So what I've decided is I'm going to open up that Saturday fish off to anybody, but it's going to be like a $25 entry fee if you didn't fish in the Knucklehead series. But if you fished in the Knucklehead series, then your entry's free. Okay. Nice. So I'm going to message out the coupon code to everybody in the Knucklehead series that here's how you register for free. And then it's going to be a $25 entry fee. And then I'm going to send that out to the entire kayak bass fishing community and the whole kayak bass fishing nation. And then I'm going to let each of the captains put it out. Hey, if you never got around to fishing the series, but you want to come down and fish for a chance to win, XX number of dollars of prizes, fish for $1,000 in guaranteed payouts for first, second, and third, 500, 300, 200. And more importantly, fish one of the best fisheries in the country at the best time to catch giant fish on a frog and 1,000 other ways. But literally, dude, everything is lining up for it to be better than it was last year in November, but in October, but still have all the late summer stuff going. But the fall stuff is also kicking off. There's already wads of bait in places that it'll blow your mind. Like you could practically walk on it. So it is going to be, everything's going to peak, so save like knock on wood, some crazy weather incident. This shit is lining up to be like one of the most epic events we've ever had. And then we follow it up the following week with the championships. I think we're going to get better weather and better fishing for the Knucklehead thing than we are for the championships. The feeding times, the moon phase, everything is actually really favorable to the Knucklehead. I mean, it's still good for the championships. Don't get me wrong. I always set the championships up to be as best as I possibly can for the moon phase and all that with the weather. I mean, with the other tournaments in the world factored in. And we moved off of that 19th weekend to accommodate the Bass Nation Kayak Series Championship and the Caddo event and all that other stuff. But we actually lucked into, in my opinion, a better weekend for everything. And then the Knuckleheads even better than that. So, yeah, the fishing's going to be, in my opinion, is going to be off the chain. It's going to be ignorant.
Matt and Chad even said something about throwing a frog. So Gramps is ready this time, baby. I'm bringing a frog rod.
That doesn't mean you're going to A, throw it, B, catch anything on it.
If I'm bringing it, I'm going to throw it. All you got to do is watch Austin's video. Oh. Damn.
He just walked in. He looked over and saw the camera. Got a big
shitty, baby.
Got a big shitty grin on his face.
That's right. That
Did you go?
A monster.
How was it?
Have him hop on. We all know him.
Come sit down.
Come on, big fish. Hoover.
Come on. Hey, why don't let's just talk about it. Get him on there because
he's coming.
Currently right now,
he's got to put his hat on and get all pretty. He's over there.
There we go. There he is. So
out of everybody sitting in that building right now or that place, you got the big fish of the year. Let's go. Let's go.
Or like the top 3 fish.
Dude.
Ooh, top 3.
He's been on fire. I love seeing Austin getting out there
throwing
doing
him big old swim baits. That swim bait bite you got going on is awesome.
It's not even a swim bait bite.
He caught them big fish worms.
No, I know, but I'm saying he's had a couple of Instagrams of swim baits.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a destroyer.
Yeah. I told Austin earlier a couple days ago, I was like, that's why I'm coming down early, because this gives us an opportunity to get on the water and fish together, even outside of competition, but just to go out and have some fun and put those bona fides to work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Looking forward to all that too. So I can't wait.
Me neither, because by the time y'all come down, that means it's going to be cool. I'm done with this heat.
Yeah. I bring the weather. That's what Liz was already looking at the thing,
Yeah.
talking about. Hey, it's going to rain, and then
No, there's a hurricane forming over here already. It's going to hit Alabama.
I'm like,
the freaking Floridian
I'm like,
talking about
I'm
hurricanes.
coming south. That means a cold front's coming with it. It happens everywhere I go. It doesn't matter. I go to Florida. Yeah, cold, 29 degrees.
Bring it.
29 degrees in Florida day after Christmas when I want to go.
It's starting to act like fall. The leaves are starting to fall a little bit here and there.
Yep.
The days are getting shorter, but it was still 98 degrees today. So
yeah, it was 90 some here today too.
Yeah,
so,
the nights are cool. The nights are down in the 70s.
Yeah, I'm sleeping good these days. Woo.
So how'd you do? Did you catch anything? See anything you like?
That's what I'm talking about.
And for those of you who really don't know, that's Austin. He is the camera guy and editor for Chad, and is also his son. So
I make that man look good.
you do. You make a fat man in a kayak look good, and I know that's hard work.
He tries.
While he's walking around all over his, giving everybody anxiety like he's Christine Fisher.
Right.
Now, what was it? Bart's comment. I was looking at the championship. It wasn't sure what the difference is in the 3 different options for signing up. So check with your captain. They'll walk you through it.
No, he's talking about the championships.
Okay. Well, you want to touch on that while we're at it?
Yeah. So the trail series is basically you have to be qualified through fishing the trail series. The trail series was basically 4 different ways. Top 10%, over 1,500 points for the Dakota Lithium Cut Line. You finished in the top 50% for the May event. And then at the last event on Chickamauga, because we only had a few people show up, and that was the last trail that we're doing, I basically made the unilateral decision and qualified everybody that fished that event. So those are the ways you could fish for the Trail Series Championship. So to be in the Trail Series Championship, you need to go to kayakbassfishing.com/qualified and make sure you got an X next to your name in that. Challenge Series Championship, again, top 25% of any month or top 3. So it's wasn't designed to be this way, but if you fished in a state that's only got 3 people, all 3 of you qualified. Yep. But you get points based on where you finish. The Challenge Series Championship qualification list is up. The only thing that's not on there is the Dakota Lithium Cut Line, which is if you accumulated 1,500 points, you go to the series standings. As long as you're above 1,500 points, or if you're going to finish this month with 1,500 points, then you're also qualified. And then the Tinvitational is that you qualified by finishing in the top 10% of any event in KBF, or you were in the Tinvitational last year. That qualification rolls to this year as well. So therefore, it's like a 2-year rolling qualification. So that's how you can fish the Tinvitational. When it's all said and done, there's 2 paths to the 10 for this year, and there'll only be 1 next year. The Challenge Series and the Trail Series 10 are going to go into the 10, and there's going to be 20 people competing for the $10,000 first place prize. Everybody's getting $1,000 minimum. And then the only caveat to that is the Challenge Series champion also wins their way in. So if you happen to win the Challenge Series championship because you got in by qualifying with 1 event, you can still come down to Alabama, fish the Challenge Series championship, and if you win that, you win your way into the 10.
What about the Invitational champion? The Tinvitational champion?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The Tinvitational champion and the Challenge Series champion. So absolute worst case scenario, we could have 22 people in the 10 this year, and then next year we could have 11 because we're going to get rid of we could have 12 because we will do the Challenge Series champion again, and we will do the Tinvitational champion. The thing that's going to be different next year, that's different this year, is all the clubs that are affiliated with KBF will be able to send their top 10% to the Tinvitational. So you could win the Tinvitational and win your way into the 10 literally without ever fishing an actual KBF event, because that's what we're doing to help grow the sport. And that's kind of like your wild card qualification into the 10.
I like it.
Yeah. But check out kayakbassfishing.com/qualified. Or if you can't remember that, I actually make all this stuff really simple. Everything is like uber easy. So I'm going to go to the website real quick to show you what I'm talking about. So if you go to kayakbassfishing.com and you just go to the homepage, there's like a There's like a banner right here that says qualified list. And then there's another one that says rules. And then these are all the overviews for the individual series. So it's really simple with KBF to find anything. I've made it like you can do it with one thumb. Go to the website and just scroll until you see what you want and just click on it. So there's the qualified list. There's the rules. There's the challenge series overview, catch 22 overview, knucklehead overview, and then there's the link to the championship. So it's literally it's kindergarten level at this point.
Yep.
Okay.
Holy crap. Mr. Kreitz is qualified for the national championship, the Invitational and Challenge Series championship.
You had a good month in Mayhem too.
I did. Well, I finished top 3 in the state in one of them.
Yep. So yeah, you had a good run. And that's a reminder too, everybody. I haven't seen a lot of talk about catch 22, but keep putting them fish up. This year has been a banner year. And if you're still on the water, you're still catching bigs. I mean, I was up in Wisconsin taking pictures and having a good time up there. So make sure you keep uploading the fish. And I need to look and see where we're at.
I'm doing it right now, JT. We got 483 anglers, 26,776 fish, which we end it last year with just a little over 22,000.
Yep.
So we're well past. We're at 26.
Yep. Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
We're still smoking it.
How much time do you have? Can we talk about the future real quick?
Yeah.
Be my guest, dude.
So check this out. This is actually the kind of stuff I'm working on this time of year all the time. So this is the new kind of overview format that I'm putting together. So everything is going to kind of culminate with the 10. But we're going to have the KBFNC, and here's going to be the ways to get to it. You're going to be able to get to it through the Ambassador Series, the Challenge Series, and the Knucklehead Series. So these are kind of linear, and then this one's a separate entry. Then over here, you're going to have the Invitational, which gets you into the Challenge Series Championship and into the 10. You're going to have the one-night stands that go to the Challenge Series. They get you into the 10. And then you're going to have the Smallmouth Challenge Series that qualifies you for the Challenge Series Championship, which gives you a chance to get into the 10. So these are kind of your primary categories, and these are your ways and what they culminate in. Everybody that qualifies for the 10 or qualifies for any of these championships also automatically qualifies for the KBFNC. And then over here on the fish shop side, we've got the catch 22, we've got the catch 5, and then we've got the unlimited series that's all moving to next year. So next year for KBF, that's going to be it right there. That's the entire atmosphere, if you will, of the things that we're focused on. One of the things that's going to happen underneath this is there's going to be regions and there's going to be regional championships. So that's the last thing that I have to fill in right here. So that's kind of the way forward. One of the things that I've also been working on is the format for the national championship. And so here's the kind of the worksheet. And so the way we're going to work it is on day 1, we're going to do an hourly big bass. We're going to do an overall big bass and a day 1 leader. And again, don't hold me to these numbers. These are numbers that I'm working on based on funding that we have to work with, potential entries, averages, and all that other stuff. On day 2, we're looking at the same thing, but with a day 2 leader and then an overall leader that's going to make another bonus. And then on the final day, we're going to do the same thing, except the difference is on the final day, the top 100 move on. And unlike in the past where it was day 1, day 2, you make the 100 and your score carries over. Moving forward after day 2, it's going to zero out, and everybody in the top 100 is going to have an equal shot at winning the national championship, at taking home money. We're going to take this money out of the entry fees, but this money over here will still be paid out to the number of positions based on the total number of entries. So right now it's looking like you got a really good shot at winning money on day 1. You got a really good shot at winning money on day 2. If you did really well on day 1 and day 2, like you did in the past, to put yourself in a position to be one of the third day winners, you're still going to win about the same amount of money because collectively you had to do well on all 3 days. But the big difference is we're trying to spread the love to where if on day 1 you catch the biggest bass in, let's say, the first hour and the 5th hour, you're going to take home $1,000. So you just paid for your trip. Or if you have a really, really, really good day and you follow it up and don't make anything on day 2, at least you didn't not get anything to speak of. And I think the biggest thing is I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people really love the 100 from a prestige standpoint. But
Yeah.
it really hit home with me last year when a guy called me and said, "Hey, I don't want this to sound disrespectful, but as much as I appreciate the 100 board and the decal, and I'm proud of my accomplishment and all this other stuff, I was looking at it and I don't have a snowball's chance of hell at cashing a check. So I'm going to head home and spend time with my family. They let me take off, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't make sense for me to fish tomorrow just to be 56th or 70th or something like that when I don't have a chance at winning or even placing in the money." So, of course, I called a bunch of people like this dude right there as well and started having this dialogue. And the vast majority of people, maybe like everybody except one or two super elite people that like the concept of you should earn your 3-day total, was on board with it. But then when I explained to even those elite guys, this gives more people a chance to win, so more people are going to come, they even were like, yeah, that makes sense. So next year for the national championship, making the 100 is going to be a big deal because on day 3, it zeroes out and everybody has the same chance of winning the national championship. In fact, if you've beat up on your fish on day 1 and day 2, you might not be in as good a position as somebody who's in the lower half of the top 100. And I'm also going to put up a bonus for finishing exactly 100th. I'm going to shut the leaderboard off like 2-3 hours ahead of time. And if you end up exactly 100th, you're going to win like $1,000. So there's some fun things that we're going to do. We're going to bring back prizes. We're going to bring back those things that folks can win.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We're going to have an award ceremony each day. That way everybody can get together every day and have like hey, here's the recognition. Here's the Big Bass Day 1. Here's the Big Bass Trophy. Here's the check. Here's and then do the same thing on day 2. And then have a big party, kind of get together on day 3 for the final 100 championship award ceremony. So I want to make the 100 like a big scale version of the 10, but for the national championship, where everybody in the 100.
And the big thing is you have a ton of people, they're there to try to cash a check, but you have far more people trying to win a catch board and that sticker because that to us is the prestige, It's just
I'm 2 years out.
Yeah, I gotta take my dog out. She's about to let y'all know she's here with us.
Oh, get that dog girl.
We gotta introduce her more to the community because this dog right here,
she's such a sweetie.
Like the sweetest dog and the smartest dog in the world.
All right, so good seeing y'all. See y'all in a few weeks.
Thanks, Austin. Yep, we'll see you in a little bit.
But yeah, man, and here's what's great. Right now, this time last year, I would have been a stress bucket because I would be on the phone doing permits, talking to venues, working on freaking contracts, all for the trail, right? And I'm going to be, I don't know that I've been as honest as I'm about to be right now any other time, but I was probably burnt out on the trail series 2 years ago, maybe even 3, from the standpoint of the effect it had on my quality of life. I enjoy handing out the trophies. I enjoy providing the opportunities for anglers, but it took another, and I don't think this is something people quite fully understand. It takes, if you've got a 10-week schedule or a 6-week schedule or even a 4, like I did this year for my last trail ever, you're talking about a month and a half of like legitimate all day, every day planning, organizing. And then after the fact, there's all these things that change. States pull your permits, call you back. Hey, can we move the date? All this other craziness.
Yep.
So it's a massive stressor. But the other thing that I don't think people understand, and I didn't really understand when I got into it, because look, I wasn't born a tournament director, and I really didn't ever want to be one. I wanted to start tournaments because there weren't any for us as kayak anglers for freshwater. There was some saltwater ones. And then I honestly just went down this road. When I got to the point where I was at the level of doing the FLW Cup a few years ago, I got a peek behind the curtain of what tournament fishing really was. And I got to be honest with you, I got disenfranchised with it, to be honest with you. I got sick to my stomach kind of at what I saw when it wasn't really what I wanted our community to be. But then I was stuck because I had sponsorship commitments and everybody loved it and wanted it and more. And I just tried to be, everything to everybody. And then it was a strain on my marriage, but my marriage was never going to succeed with all the crap that I have found out since then. So it was one of those things where I did it. I tried to do the best I could, was really good at it the first couple of years. But then when my heart wasn't in it anymore, it was just kind of going through the motions. And now that I'm not going through the motions and I'm having fun with this stuff like the Catch 22 and the Knucklehead, and I'm able to have my ears open more to have time to hear people and talk to people and get feedback, I'm better able to focus on the national championship and the championships at the end of the year and the Knucklehead thing. And even though I'm saying I kind of am a little bit disenfranchised with tournaments, but yet I'm still doing them, I'm doing more community type events than uber elite type of events. And those to me are more fun. People come with a different mindset. They come with a different level of expectation. It attracts the right people, not the toxic people. And to be honest with you, I really, 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 really almost wish I could figure out a way to merge everything into one event where the national championship and the Challenge Series championship and the 10 were kind of like all at one time. And there may be an opportunity to do that moving forward. But I really like the fact that we have two events now, one to kick the season off and one to kind of end the season. But I'm not done looking at ways to maybe consolidate it. I'm not stuck per se, but I'm not looking to move out of Huntsville on these amazing fisheries here until I get it established enough that I could take it on the road again and feel comfortable in it, doing it, and having my heart in it, right? Because I love the national championship. I love the 10. I think those two things alone are the best in the game, and it allows people to fish local, fish their own stuff, but have this bigger thing that they're fishing towards, right? And that's the same concept with the Challenge Series. And next year when we introduce the regional championships to the Challenge Series, I think folks are going to really love that idea. And I think that'll naturally grow the Challenge Series. So I want to create a low barrier to entry, easy to incorporate into your standard way of fishing, but there's recognition, there's accolades along the way, and there's opportunities, whether you're just fishing on your own, you're trying to be a state angler of the year, a regional angler of the year, or win the 10. And to me, that's the stuff I've been enjoying. Me and this knucklehead are out there duking it out on the Catch 22 challenge, and there's really no money on the line, and we can't win any prizes.
Well, here's the other thing I want to say something from the time when I've met you and all of this. You have fished more this year, had more fun since you dropped the trail and weren't having to stress and do all of those. This knucklehead thing is a huge success with growing the sport because of the amount of new anglers we had last year. Half the field had never fished in a tournament before. Right. And you focusing on things like that with the Catch 22, I think is a better use of your time. You're happier, you're healthier, because really trash talking with your kid out on the water and all the time you guys have spent together. I know that, family can rub you the wrong way, but both of you are better off right now than you were a year ago, in my opinion.
And I would say this, even if he's sitting here, it's also given him a competitive outlet to try to show what he can do, because, I don't know what it's like growing up in, somebody who's well-known, in that relationship, but this gives him an opportunity to do his own thing. Now, granted, it's a facade. His name's at the top of the leaderboard right now, and it ain't going to be that way at the end of the year. But at least he's out there duking it out with the Austin Carter and a couple of the other guys from the state, Jason Ball and some of these other guys. And they're all thinking they're going to win the state of Alabama when I'm pretty much going to lay the smack down.
Oh God!
And let them know what's up. You know what I'm saying? And but anyway,
you didn't do any of that though last year.
I didn't. I didn't really have a chance to be competitive or even have the time
to have fun.
Because every time I was on the water, I had to do deliverables for videos.
Yep.
I had no time to fish for myself. I went and fished the Yak and Grass tournament a couple weeks ago, and I was going out to fish it. I told Austin, like, the next tournament I fish, I ain't just throwing my entry fee in there to donate to the cause and show up to the award ceremony. I'm going to see what I can do. So I lost 2 fish early in the morning that were over 20 that cost me at least second place. And then I always said, I don't know how somebody could not enter a fish that they caught, but I caught 2 18s in the last hour, and I entered one of them, and I went and looked at the catch log, and it showed it was entered, and I thought I had entered both 18s, and I didn't, but it was after the submission time when I figured it out that I entered the same fish twice versus both of my 18s, and the tournament director was like, look, man, I'm sorry, but I can't let you enter the fish. I was like, I'm not even asking that. I just sit in here like a dumbass going, I had an 18. Yeah. I finished in third by a quarter of an inch, and I had a full inch upgrade. So I would have finished in at least second. And then I lost 2 fish on camera. You know, it's not some like fishtail that would have put me in first, but it literally kind of lit that fire. And so I think next year I'm going to go hit some of these Kayak Adventure Series events. I think next year I'm going to go do the Bass Nation Kayak Series, you know, some of the Hobie stuff, whatever's available. I'm going to go try to jump in on it. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to go try to fish some of Josh Booth's All-American stuff and fish some of the Carolina Kayak Angler stuff. And mostly though, I'm going to focus on trying to fish the local stuff here in North Alabama, because it's really hard to get fired up about driving somewhere else to go fishing when you're driving away from some of the best fishing in the world, unless you're talking about going to Texas for even bigger fish, or Florida for even bigger fish, or like maybe go to St. Clair for these, you know, world-class smallmouth or something like that. I'm going to travel for. Other than that, I'm dug in like a tick here. We're going to be opening up the shop. We're going to be really getting to the point where we're taking out veterans, not just like weekly, but multiple times a week. And really double down on the Hero Lake thing. There's just so many things that I've got and blessings that have been dropped right into my lap that I need to focus on. I've got to stop worrying about this pie in the sky stuff and focus on the plate that's on the table. You know what I mean? So,
the plate you have on the table. Sorry, JT, go ahead.
I think what you're doing, especially with the NC, building all the bonuses in and things like that too. I did have one quick question with the smallmouth series. Is that a month-long thing, or is that like a – okay, so it's like a monthly, but
it's exactly the same as the State Challenge Series, except it's only smallmouth. It starts October 1st, and it runs back around to September of next year, and then the championship is going to be 2 weeks in October next year.
Okay, well, that'll definitely help fill my recent smallie. Yeah,
I'm just I think that you and KBF are in a better place now, right? Like fun wise, like hearing about the way you're doing the national championship and stuff, doing that 100 of reset, dude. I just want a board. I don't care where I finish. I want a board. And I'll fish it, but I just want a board.
But again, you know that going in on that last day that you got a chance.
But now, I got a chance. Because I mean, anybody can have a good day.
You fulfill your wish of getting a board and you finish 98th, 99th, and you go out the next day and the sun's shining down and all the Lord put the fish where you happen to be that one day.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran into that up into Wisconsin. Just
bro, you don't even. You have been kicking ass when you did exactly what Chad said. You have been kicking butt because you stopped worrying about other things and outside influence and started.
Yeah, I took a month, and like Chad said, I was like, I'm not donating this month, and I went on a small.
Have proved
September.
If anybody says you can't tournament fish or you can't fish and you're just a YouTuber, they're full of crap.
Yep, it was.
You can have these hands.
Yeah, but I do want to say this: like, not all of this is selfish. A lot of it had to do with I had to do what I had to do because of the financial constraints of the my life events and all that other stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I really think this is also better use of the resources of KBF for the community, because
honestly, I think it's kind of where you were meant to be, because like when you started talking about, when we had our gathering and we started talking about, fish camp and boondoggles and getting back to kind of the roots of the sport, I think that resonated with a lot of people as well. So the fact that you're still going to have a national championship and ways to qualify, truly grassroots around the country with the Challenge Series, the Knucklehead, because I won't lie, I like my two biggest tournaments in the year that I will never miss. As long as you're doing Knucklehead, I will continue to do Knucklehead, and as long as you do the NC, I will do that, because those are my two favorite events of all. And bottom line, the Challenge Series is cool for the guys that are doing the state and this and that. That's not my thing. I want to keep promoting the sport and doing it through Knucklehead, just because that's what I prefer to do. Once they kind of move on from Knucklehead and get into their Challenge Series stuff, then sure, I'll promote that. And I'll always fish Mayhem to qualify for the NC. But what you're doing with Knucklehead, Catch 22, all the fish.
Oh yeah, Catch 22, 100%.
Let me throw something else out there that it might sound like a contradiction to everything I've just said, but I'm going to say this. We're going to do other live events.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be a trail. They're not going to be connected. They're going to be one of ones. Like, for example,
like the big bass thing at the Ozarks or whatever.
We're going to do an open on Lake Murray next year. That's going to be a fish camp. And it's going to be mostly based on fish camp, but there'll be a tournament. So it's going to be a community gathering where there's a tournament, not a tournament that we hope becomes a community gathering. It's going to be a community gathering, the fish camp, the camaraderie, and all of that first. And there's an open, $75 entry fee, $5,000 guaranteed payout, blah, blah, blah. There's that, but that's not the only reason we're there. So if you're just coming to fish a tournament, go sign up for another series, because that's not what this is about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is. But really, the Knucklehead isn't about the tournament. I mean, it is and it isn't. It was more about fans meeting their influencers. Yeah, and there was a lot of that going on until fishing started, and then it turned into a tournament. But everyone, like, from being an outsider and not on the water that whole weekend, watching everyone talk to each other and be like, oh man, and like, oh hey, it's so awesome to meet you. They gave no craps about fishing until the fishing started, and that's the way it should be. It was awesome. It was awesome.
And you had so many people catch their PBs. I mean, even in practice. I mean, and it's like, what do you call a PB that was caught in practice? A PB.
A PB.
It doesn't change. Daniel Pierce came down, didn't fish the tournament, walked away with a 20-inch fish, 22, whatever it was. It's I mean, it's been incredible. I'll give Mr. Darren Wendell a freaking, for the season he's put up in Ohio this year. It's like he caught that 22-inch donk down in Gunnersville and then went back up to Ohio and has been smacking 20s and 21s all season long. So I got to give him a shout out for him and his swim jig and Yamaduki for absolutely slaying some giants in Northern Ohio this year. And I mean, it's like, wow.
I gotta say, I personally feel like taking a little bit of credit for it, because I think he learned how to fish by being part of the Knucklehead series. You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
Okay, hey, I got a question for you, Chad. So if they fish in the Knucklehead, they're qualified. They're auto qualified for the national championship, correct?
If you're in the championship, yeah, because you won.
No, I'm saying if they qualify and they're fishing in the Knucklehead, but they're in the championship.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yes, Miss Cairo, you're qualified for the national championship now. She sent me that question privately.
But like I said, and I don't want to get too much into it yet because I don't have the details put together, and I'm not putting my energy into it till after the championships are over. But we're going to do some type of kickoff on Murray. Columbia, South Carolina has been too good to me and to us as a community for us to like not go back there because we ended up the same dates as Bassmaster. So we moved to the weekend before, and then we decided, and then we had like a poor turnout relative to their event because like he said to me, look, dude, don't look at it like you didn't have as great a turnout. Look at it like KBF's the reason these people are coming here. So our community is benefiting from it. The Pan Am kayak fishing thing is coming here because of you. It may not be under the umbrella of Experience Columbia and the Tourism Bureau. It might be under the other thing, but let's make no mistake about it. Nobody was hosting kayak fishing tournaments on Lake Murray until you did. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was hosting kayak fishing tournaments in Shreveport on Caddo and in the other lakes associated with it until we went there. So again, I'm not trying to break my arm, pat myself on the back, but I am going to say, like, you can't rewrite history. Like, we did amazing things for this sport, but I think that there's more amazing things to be done by building the community instead of continuing to try to be the most elite kayak fishing series, which is not what our goal was in the first place. Kind of got a little bit sidetracked in focusing on that, lost focus on the community stuff for a couple years. And then it's like a big slap upside the head with the divorce and the relifing stuff, and me sitting down and going, man, what's really important? And what's really important sticks out like a diamond in a billy goat's ass when you really look at it, because the things that are important, you don't have to really look at that hard.
Well, and
so I think sometimes we rationalize to ourselves what we think is the most important because it's what we want to do for our ego or for our, our ability to, gloat or whatever. And I'm just glad I figured that shit out before I was in it 10 years instead of just a few, you know what I mean? And so that's why we've got 2 more shots at the 10 this year and next year. And then it will be the 10th one. And I want the 10th 10 to be absolutely redonkulous. Like, my goal is to figure out a way to pay out like $100,000 across the course of the whole 10, maybe like 50,000 for first and then stagger it down. And for it to be the most elite individual small kayak fishing event, but you can qualify through all the series that are out there. That's the long-term goal.
Well, I just sit here and I remember back to the day that we were sitting in your trailer on Veterans Day, where we were all at in our lives at that point in time. And some of us were here, some of us were here, and where we're at right now of 2-3 years later of how we have all grown, what you have done with KBF and the Knucklehead, and look at what we've done with Catch 22.
Yep.
Like the first year where there was Catch 22, it was not even like your goal was this, but we've doubled number of anglers. We're putting the fish up, and that's all because of you, bro. I mean,
no,
so
it's because of us.
I know, but take some credit. You have the vision. We're the mouthpieces, and you got a pretty big mouth too. But we're all just now a bunch of redneck friends that like to fish and do this stuff. So I thank you for giving us the opportunity to help and do whatever we can do.
Well, I appreciate that. So, we ain't done yet.
No,
we sure aren't.
Just getting started, baby.
I know I kid and we all kid that, I'm not the fisherman or whatever, but I enjoy this community greatly. I really do.
All right, boys, I'm going to get us out of here for the night. Appreciate you both hopping on, giving us this update. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing everybody again at once the KBF Knucklehead. And of course, we're going to be in the house. So there'll be a bunch of us in the house, and Matt's not smoking this time. Matt's
not bringing any smoker. I'm not even bringing the little drum.
He ain't even making grilled cheese. We're gonna have to go eat out somewhere and bring some healthy choices or something. So
I'll bring a bag of lettuce so Gramps can stay on his diet.
Yeah. Be my skinny girl, salad dressing. Nope. Love my Chipotle Ranch skinny girl. I call it skinny bitch, but Grant gets mad when I do that. Anywho, all right, boys, we will see you down there, and of course, we will do some lives and whatnot while we're down there. And
I'll be live streaming the tournament.
They're going to be Matt will be live streaming the tournament, so it'll be a fun time as always. Can't wait. But again, get outside when you can and make some memories, one cast at a time.
Freedom Squad's going to be on top.